What's up guys, it's the Game Bro coming back to you. We got a real special one today, another shooter but a weird one. Today we're looking at 70s robot Geppy X on the PlayStation 1. So the best way to describe Geppy X is if like Pokemon fucked Voltron and Mega Man, made a TV show about it for kids but doesn't explain why Dr. Wily is fisting Misty, then has the audacity to push its own merch on you during load times. As with the likes of other obscure titles on the PS1 like Airgrave, Gaia Seed, and Harmful Park, Geppy X comes from the unknown Japanese developer Aroma. What makes this different from any other shooter out there is that Geppy X is made to mimic an anime series right down to the fake commercials with shampoo ads and action figures. It's really an homage to the 70s genre, inspired by the likes of Getter Robo, Grendizer, and Mazinger Z. Geppy takes up 4 fucking discs, abuses FMV enough to make Trip Hawkins choke a bitch, and apparently uses 8,000 video clips across the game. As a quick comparison, Final Fantasy VII uses 4 discs too, so you can see how much effort and really dedication went into this, and although not the best shooter on the PS1, it really stands out. Let's find out why. Developed and published by Aroma, Geppy X was the 7th and final release from the company May 27th, 1999, and was released only in Japan on PlayStation and never saw the release to online stores. Geppy is a single-player only side-scrolling shooter that is really a love letter to fans of the anime manga genre rather than the shooter crowd, but in the process has won over that side too, as it's extremely desirable with every STG fanboy living with their parents. Anyway, let's check out that plot.
今完成する無敵のスーパーマシーン X パンチ君の手で地球を守れ X1 号発売中
Set somewhere in the 1970s, the player takes control of the Geppy X super armor mech to fight the invading forces of the Space Devil Empire across 9 stages that seem like episodes, and when it comes to the length is pretty comparable, but more on that later. You pilot the Geppy X, capable of transforming into 3 different robots all with their own special movesets and speed, with the third one being, you guessed it, the fat one that's slow and packs a punch. Each sex toy has a main and sub-weapon, both able to be quick-fired or used as a stronger charge shot. With power-ups, both are able to be leveled up 4 times, but are lost upon death. You also have a special attack available when the X power gauge is full to turn even the steepest slope into a parking lot. The hitbox for Geppy is really vague though, and it seems to be on the upper end of the armor. Speaking of armor, you get a life number that drops as you're hit instead of the traditional one-hit kill. Later in the game, Geppy gets a makeover and turns into Geppy XX, upgrading all 3 versions of the robot. Controls are post-pregnancy loose and sloppy, but it's not your fault maternal mortality rates are up. The toughest mechanic to get used to is switching directions. It sounds as cool as a garbage disposal at Planned Parenthood, but the timing's gotta be perfect. No one looking? Okay, Kobe! Flip the switch, no one saw. But that's easier than timing when to turn the other way, or just stay the same direction and high-five that 3-pointer. The graphics and visuals are nothing to write home about on the PS1, but that's not what Geppy is after. The presentation and attention to detail of recreating a lost anime are incredible. Focusing on the actual gameplay visuals, it's straight up 2D vanilla sex, but the bosses are pre-rendered 3D models that are totally down for butt stuff if you're game. But what's interracial 3-way awesome is the FMV cutscene when you kill the boss, completing the anime vibe. The smaller enemies are random as fuck, but if you think that's weird, the stage bosses are batshit crazy with RoboCop snowman to the walrus boat thing. Like if you were high as fuck, this probably makes sense, but until then, watching that train thing run across the screen has me speechless as the time it takes to play through. To get that 1cc action, it'll take you almost 2.5 hours for the normal mode and over 3 hours with the extra shit. I'm sure only half of that is actual gameplay, but somewhere Trip Hawkins, wife fucker, is smiling behind a paywall about the use of FMV almost 10 years later. It's not a difficult game either, just getting used to the controls and hitbox is the meat and potatoes. The enemy patterns and fire as well as the bosses can be a little predictable, so even the dumbest of blondes stand a chance. Level design is incredible, starting out in the ruined city to underwater or out in the snow, and you know the Game Bro is all about playing in the snow. The enemies and bosses correspond great with each level aesthetic, but what stands out most about Geppy X is the soundtrack. Featuring actual Japanese singers, the songs sound like they're right out of a 70s anime series. I love the boss tracks the best, and each is introduced like that oh shit boss battle. You get a little organ sound that sets a little bit of fear in you, but only a little bit. But what sucks is Geppy X isn't a great pick-up and play, and it takes almost 10 minutes just to get even into the actual gameplay after all the cutscenes, load times, and all the little bullshit that goes on to try to make this into a TV show. But replay value is jerk off during confession good though if you got the time, but forgive me for preaching. In the days it took me to write this, I didn't need to keep playing after the recording, but every day I found myself playing through the first few levels, but as the Game Bro is finding himself with all this extra time to spare, I might actually get pretty good at these. But, what does it mean to me, the collection, and the genre, you ask? Well, this is one of my favorite PS1 games, and really any pieces of my collection. The 4-disc case stands out on the shelf, and the cover art really pops with the main armor featured front and center in a comic print style. If you want one stateside, a complete copy will set you back another $300, but don't be surprised to see this one go higher. In the landscape of shooters or really retro collecting in general, Geppy X is cornerstone material and extremely rare. I've never seen one of these in the wild, and anytime I've asked someone at the stores, they haven't seen one in over a decade. It's one of those games I've always had a thing for, wanted so bad, was willing to pay whatever it took to experience something I never thought was possible, but again, I'm me. Anything's possible. Hitting an Asian chick has always been a life goal for you, and you take the first one that comes your way. You're more than willing to be accepting of some flaws, maybe even a kid or two. Geppy X is loaded with hiccups, issues, and even a newborn that might be retarded, but she offers you something you never had before, and that's irreplaceable. You always remember the first, and Geppy gives you that same sensation of a first time. Small things can always be overlooked, but at the end of the day, what's being offered is an experience to last a lifetime. Or should I say, me love you wrong time. Just stop squinting at me though, bro. Anyway guys, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit that fucking bell button if you want them notifications. I'm short on time. Hope you guys have a great week. I'll see you next Tuesday. I've been the Game Bro, and I am out.